sorry, that's a bit of an in-joke between me and him that nobody else will get, and quite rightly so. So cheers, Amaya. I'm recording.
It's recording. What about you, Alex?
I'm recording.
Cool. I'm so excited.
And he just can't hide it.
I'm so excited. Because we have you now, and I love the subject. I love, I don't even ask you permission, Tim, to do this, because usually Tim has this, does the introduction because he likes to talk, but I don't even ask you. Fuck off. Just shut up. Shut up. This is, I love what Alex does, So Alex Kjerulf, I spent 5 minutes looking at
fucking up your name,
and you still got it wrong.
Yeah. Yes, I love it.
Here's the thing: you have to be born Danish to pronounce that correctly. I'm sorry.
Shit, sorry. Okay, so is it close enough, though? Please tell me yes.
It's not the worst pronunciation I've heard. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third or fourth worst, maybe, but not the worst.
I will take that as a compliment. So, Alex, you're a CEO of Woohoo! Is it correct?
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yes,
Shit,
exactly.
I did it right. Okay.
You did.
You CEO at Woohoo. You are a writer, and you are an expert on happiness in the workplace.
In the workplace.
Exactly. In the workplace, and that's why I love this fucking subject, because I work in corporate myself, to a big fucking company. I will be fired the next morning, by the way, because I'm talking like this. But and this subject is totally non-existent. Happiness at work. If you come in my company, you will be looking like this, with big eyes. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I'm so much believing in what you do, and that's it. So I'm excited. What about you, Tim? How are you?
No, I'm not at all excited.
You're not at all excited.
No.
And my video is gone for a reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's because you're getting on anybody's nerves, basically. I would imagine so if we do put this up on YouTube and you've got a glass of wine, you fucker, because you know it's too early for me. Yeah.
I know.
We need to start recording these later. We could record them at midnight, which would be like 6 a.m. for you, so I could be there absolutely hammered. Yeah. Have you had some beer? No, I've not had beer, actually, but I've just had 3 tabs of ecstasy. So, we're going to have a fun time. And we're going to be happy at work. Anyway, enough of all that. Somebody accused me yesterday saying, you must be on acid to write some of the stuff you do. And I'm like, no, I'm just high on life. Alex, I'll be honest with you. So, well, first of all, we've done 13 or 14 podcasts, and Olivier has introduced about 9 of them. So I think there's like 2 that I introduced on my own. So, because basically he only invites people on who he really wants to suck up to. So I will definitely confirm the fact that he obviously does admire you and have a man crush on you, because you wouldn't be on the fucking podcast otherwise, because there's nobody else he advised. You've either got to be into shut up you. You've either got to be really into happiness or really into death to get invited on by Olivier. I invite these people in the middle. To him, it's like we're either dead or we're happy. There is no in between ground. So
no, actually, the secret reason, and we will let you talk after that, Alex, is because I want to apply for a job in your company. By the way, and I would send you a CV. That's it. That's the only reason why you're here. By the way,
that's awesome. You're hired. Let's do this.
Actually, he did say that in the email. I'd forgotten about that. I presumed he was joking because, he's only going to make a dick of himself on this podcast. So how the hell are you going to want to hire him afterwards?
That's got to be the sneakiest way to get hired somewhere ever.
Yeah, by being stupid.
I didn't want to say that, but
almost as sneaky as us getting James Altush on this program. So, Alex, you were about to talk then, but I think this is more about me. But no, seriously. So I went to investigate you because I'd never heard you, and I watched your TEDx speech, which was excellent.
Excellent. Oh, thank you.
And I smirked on several occasions. So, tell us about that and what it is you do in about 3 or 4 seconds, and I can start talking again.
Sure, yeah. Basically, I agree with you guys, that Olivier, that too many people are unhappy at work. For too many people, work fucking sucks. Okay, You show up to work, you're miserable the whole day, then you go home and and now you have to try to be happy with your family, your friends, or kids, or whatever. And is that any way to live a life? And I say, no, hell no. Given that we, on average, spend more time at work than we do on anything else over an entire lifetime, except sleep. Okay, we spend more time sleeping, but number 2 is work. In fact,
can I come in there? Can I come in there? Is that true?
Sure.
Because I thought the average sleep now was only about 7 hours, and that seems to be. I know that people tend to overestimate how much they actually work by the time they leave and the time they get.
We're talking over an entire lifetime, from you're born until you die.
Beg your pardon.
Okay? Yeah.
I apologize. So, thank you for correcting me.
If you include babies and school kids and that kind of thing, then we spend more time sleeping over an entire lifetime. If you look at adults, then we might actually spend more time working than sleeping, depending on who you are. I mean, but if you're going to spend that much of your life on anything, okay, if that's going to be where you spend most of your waking hours, why not actually have a job you like? Why not do something where you're excited to go in most mornings? Why not do something where you come home most days and go, wow, that was actually a really, really good day and I can't wait to go back in tomorrow? And why not, and I think this is really important, why not do something that's actually good for someone instead of slaving away at a job that's just, ruining the economy or fucking up the environment or screwing society over?
Like Olivier.
Why not actually do something that contributes positively to the world?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, Olivier, over to you, because, you've got a job that's fucking up society, you're miserable. So it's like, what you're trying to say is that you don't want to be doing a job where you have to come home at night, crack open a bottle of wine and do a podcast with people just to feel important. That would be, are you saying that would be a terrible waste of a lifetime?
Just to mention a purely hypothetical example, right, Tim?
Yeah, it's entirely hypothetical, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so moving on, because I'm still employed, by the way, by this company. But
no, you're not. As this has been recorded, people are listening to this now think you're still employed. You're actually not now. He was when he said that, but this is a month later, and now he's no longer employed. And
maybe you're better off without that job, who knows, right?
Yeah, busking on the streets of Paris with his guitars.
Because to be honest, what I would like to do is actually implement this in my company. I'm lucky enough to have this HR position in this big company, and all this concept that you're preaching, this happiness at work is not only something for the employees itself, like me, like going there, but also, and I believe you have all the figures to say that it's also benefits the company, right?
Sure.
It benefits the company itself, right? When you have engaged employees, and I'm sure you'll talk about this Gallup poll that has been done in 2013 that says that only 13% of the people are engaged at work, and all the rest, they don't fucking care about their work, right? And what does it mean? It means that they won't invest, they won't go the extra mile, they won't stay, they're just like doing this zombie work and that's it. So what you do has a lot of value also from the employer side, from the corporate perspective, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the science on this is completely clear. Okay, happy workplaces make more money, and our message to the business leaders and the CEOs out there is to say that creating a happy workplace, it's not naive or idealistic or socialist, right? This is actually one of the best business decisions you can make. And if you have happy employees, they are more productive, so they get more work done. They are more creative, so they have more and better ideas. Happy employees give better customer service. So if your employees are happy, your customers are happy. If the customers are happy, the customers come back and you make more money. This is not rocket science. And I think this is incredibly positive, is that more and more companies are actually getting this and are actually trying to become happier workplaces. Now, the problem is, of course, that very often they do completely the wrong things, which kind of sucks. But at least, more and more of them are trying, which is great.
So when you say wrong things, what sort of wrong things do we do? Like, do we do like team buildings where you have to build a bridge out of lollipops?
Lean back and I'll catch you, honestly.
One of my favorite examples was there was a real estate company in the US that did a team building where different teams had to compete against each other. And the winning team, their prize was that they got to beat the losing teams, that beat them in hit them in the butt with yard signs. And I was like, yes, that is gonna create so much, efficiency and
Teamwork,
engagement and motivation, right?
Did this turn into a book called Lord of the Flies by any chance? It sounds like
Lord,
that to me. Yes.
Yes. That's my main beef with team buildings is, I think all of the employees in this company should work better together, so go kick the crap out of each other into this highly competitive event, right? No, and also, so team buildings, I'm very skeptical about those, but also stuff like, massages or gyms or, the big thing in Danish workplaces for the last 10 years has been fresh fruit.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a bowl of fruit and you can go grab yourself an apple or a pear or a banana or whatever, and I'm like, is that going to make people happy? How many Danes are going to go home from work today and say, oh my God, I had the greatest day, I got a banana? And that's just not the way it works. Okay, but companies still waste millions of dollars on these kind of things, and they have absolutely zero effect on happiness at work.
But one thing that you said, actually, sorry, Tim, just because you need to speak. I know that you need to speak. I know, but just bear with me 1 second.
It's my mic not turned on.
I think one of the difference is between for you is thinking and feeling happy. Because you make the difference. Because you may have all the perks, you may have all the benefits, you may have the salary and everything. So you think from a reasonable standpoint, you say, well, I should be happy because I have all this, the banana and things. But what you say is the real difference is you need to feel with your heart, really.
Yes.
That's the difference, right?
And this is another example of what many companies do completely wrong, because they focus on job satisfaction. Okay, and they give employees raises and bonuses and promotions and perks to create job satisfaction, and also they measure job satisfaction. So every year you have the job satisfaction survey, right? But the problem is that job satisfaction is not the same thing as happiness at work, and you're exactly right, Olivier. Job satisfaction is what you think about your job. But happiness at work is how you feel about your job. So, on a regular, perfectly normal Wednesday afternoon when you're at work, you're sitting at your desk doing your job, how do you feel? Do you feel good most of the time, or do you feel bad most of the time? And here's the cool thing. It turns out that job satisfaction has almost no influence on job performance. Almost no influence on job performance. However, how you feel about your job has a massive influence on your performance. So all of the things companies do to create job satisfaction, the gyms and the massages and all that crap, have no effect on performance. Doesn't work. And they got to start doing things that actually make people feel good in the workplace. It's about your emotional state, how you feel it.
Fuck, hire me. I will be the best employee ever.
Hang on a minute. I've got a page full of notes here that I've now got to go
skeptic speaks.
Through.
I like it.
You two can both fuck off, because I've got a load of talking to do here. Right? First of all, I once went to, in 1989. I went around the John Deere factory in Mannheim, and we went into the work canteen, and at the end of the work canteen, I swear to God, they had got Stella Artois on tap. Now, this is 1989, but you could have beer with your lunch. And I was shocked. Even in 1989, as a Brit, I was shocked. I swear to God, that's true. I guess now that wouldn't be legal, I'm imagining.
Just as a quick anecdote, 3 years ago, the workers at Carlsberg, the Carlsberg breweries, the people in the warehouse went on strike because they could no longer drink beer in the workplace.
Wow.
They used to get a free beer every day with lunch. So not just beer, but free beer.
I would go on strike as well.
Okay, so I want to ask you a couple of things. First of all, I love what you say about satisfaction, because from a sales perspective, or it's really sort of sales/marketing, one of my favourite books is Customer Satisfaction is Worthless, Customer Loyalty is Priceless. And it's basically, and that Jeffrey Gitomer, for anybody listening that doesn't know, and that basically is, he says that everybody expects to be satisfied. I watched your talk, Alex, about being, the Danes are very satisfied with life. And the pictures of the people coming into the TEDx talk. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and Google. In fact, maybe we can put a link into Alex's.
That was kind of a mean thing to do of me, but I loved it.
It was. And I bet there were a few people crawling under their chair when they saw pictures of themselves pop up, looking miserable, standing in line to get into the TEDx. But I think we're talking about the same thing, isn't it? Satisfaction is like it's like, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
But it's just like, now, you talked about businesses are starting to get this. My question is it because for a big business, so the businesses that are getting it are tending to be like real aggressive startup businesses. So Zappos definitely got this when they started. Google brought in like meditation trainers because they're on the cutting edge and they could see what it would do to the bottom line. They didn't want more spirituality. But some of the bigger companies, could it be, this is my theory, and please shoot it down in flames, because it is, I've no sort of knowledge of this being from the inside, but is it that the infrastructure to change businesses would take a short-term hit? In other words, so let's suppose you own, huge, like you own Walmart, and you want to make all your staff happy, and that's going to, you've got to do a lot of stuff to make them think like their work's meaningful, that they're respected, and so on. And that involves, more infrastructure, more taking on more staff, maybe to pass, so on and so forth. And that affects the short term and the stock market. And businesses are so scared of the next quarter's results that they may be not looking at 8 quarters down the road where they would then spike, then they will get the return. Is that?
I think that absolutely plays into it, and probably even more so is also just entrenched management attitudes. I mean, a lot of companies are run by MBAs, right? Right. And what do you learn about happiness in your MBA? Jack shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I recently took an open course on the internet in strategy. I thought, everyone's talking about strategy. Let's talk about strategy. And I was so fucking depressed when I took it, because it was all about cornering the market and the 5 forces or whatever. Not a single word in there about creating a good culture, about creating good products, about actually being honest and good to your clients and doing what's right for them. Not a single word, okay? It was all about creating market advantage and whatever. And I was so depressed. And remember, many big organizations are led by those people. By people who believe in that kind of worldview, and to them, happiness is sort of an alien concept. Some of them, it's very interesting actually. Some of them are brought to this realization when their companies hit a major crisis, and they realize, wait a minute, the way we're doing things right now just can't go on, and they end up actually changing their ways and changing the company. But this also explains why a lot of the new companies you mentioned, like Zappos and Google, get this, because they're not run by MBAs. Right. They're run by different kinds of people who have a much better and, in my opinion, much more realistic worldview than the typical MBA stuff. MBAs are ruining the world.
Ooh. There you go. That could be the tag. That's going to be the tagline for this blog post. Just going back to the whole, the feeling worthwhile and respect in the workplace. And I think I've told this story before, but Olivier's bored with all my stories, so it doesn't really matter. I've only got 7. I just rotate them. But I used to own a record store, and we used to have 14 reps that used to come in from all the major record companies: Warner, EMI, Polygram, BMI, whatever. Every one of them wanted to work for Virgin. Every one of them. Every single rep. And it was because of Branson. The year we opened, now I'm going back now to 1993, I think. In 1993 it would have been. So it wasn't quite the empire he's got now. He wrote a Christmas thank you note to every single member of staff. Olivier's laughing because he knows I've told this before, but I've got Alzheimer's. So
I'm laughing right now to say that your age must be 75 according to my calculation.
Yeah, fuck you. Larvor boy or whatever your second name is. I have no idea. Anyway, but they all love Branson. Now, to me, the fact that they didn't pay more. The perks were a little bit more. Branson was very much in favour of health insurance, but in the UK that's not such a big deal anyway. A little bit like most Northern Europe, because you cover it anyway. It's a sort of added bonus. It's like kind of those things. Well, I'll take it if it's there, But and he was not an MBA. I mean, that guy scammed his way when he started Virgin Records and bringing illegal records through from France and not paying VAT on them. So do you see this thread go through all the time with pretty much all the successful businesses, or are the times when some of these MBAs can just say, you know what, the system we've been taught, the system we're having rammed down our throats now, it's obviously not fucking working. Look at the businesses that are crushing us. Look at the big businesses that have disappeared. And or is that just like super, super rare for them?
It happens, but it's rare. Right. But I've seen great stories of CEOs having an actual awakening. One of my favorite stories is there's a company that makes carpets called Interface, world's biggest maker of carpets. And their CEO at the time, he's dead now, so that'll make you happy, Olivier.
I love death.
Yeah, I hear.
He envelops it.
He's at one point he just realizes that the way they've been working is polluting the environment. And he just describes having this actual awakening, like, oh my God, the way we've been running our business is ruining the world. We cannot go on like this. Someday, people who do what I've been doing as a CEO will be put in jail. And he has an actual, I wouldn't say spiritual, but almost awakening, and they switch production around to make it sustainable. So that's an example. But,
and then he went bankrupt and he died of hunger.
No. Then they created a new type of carpet that was actually manufactured and sold in more sustainable ways, and it became their best-selling product ever. So screw you.
Screw you.
Yeah, I agree. I deserve to be screwed by that. Olivier, you look like you might want to say something. Well, you don't actually. No, you look like you don't want to say anything. You look just in awe.
No, I'm just switching my. I have a crush on Guy McPherson. I'm just switching my crush right now.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So, when they do surveys, not you, Olivier. I don't want to ask you anything other than why you're here. When they ever do surveys about happiness or contentedness or whatever you want to call it at work, not satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Number one and number two in everyone I've seen that I can remember is always feeling like you're worthwhile. Yeah. And doing work that you feel is meaningful. Now, I think work that you feel is meaningful is really, that's down to the individual and the organisation. I can remember saying to a girl one time, I was checking out, and a woman in front of me in the checkout, and it was a local supermarket, said, what about this? And she said, oh, I'm just a checkout girl. And then the woman went, and I got up to her and I said, just a checkout girl? Are you kidding me? I said, without you, this place will grind to a halt. Without the checkout girl. And she said, is that all? She didn't get what I was saying. But anyway, moving right along.
I thought there was got to be one of those heartwarming stories.
I know it was,
but no.
Yes, you're right. Take me to your leader and all that. But she just looked at me blankly, said, is that all, sir? Or is there anything you couldn't find,
Right.
But so it's doing work that's meaningful, and anybody can make that work meaningful within reason and feeling respected.
Yeah.
Yet still, again, I worked in sales for 20 years. It's like, we see that, and that makes sense. Fuck it though. Let's offer them a big bonus.
Yeah.
And money's a terrible long-term motivator. So do you see the same thing in your work, trying to break down those barriers in terms of what really will motivate people?
Yes, I do. I see that all the time. And here's why. Because giving people a gym, or giving them a bonus, or giving them free fruit in the office, or whatever, is expensive, but it's easy. Okay, you just you pull out your checkbook, you pay for it, done. It requires nothing of you personally as a leader. It requires no personal investment or no personal interest in your employees and your people. However, creating this feeling that I belong in the workplace, I am accepted as a person, and my work is meaningful, purposeful, and worthwhile. That is actually not very expensive, ironically, but it requires a huge personal investment from managers, from leaders. It requires that you actually, first of all, that you actually care about your people. Mm-hmm. Secondly, that you can actually see them for who they are, that you're actually interested, and that you have the time and the energy to actually see their work and praise them for the good work they do, that kind of thing. So while it's ironically actually a lot cheaper than bonus schemes or whatever, it's on a personal level, it's a lot harder. And that is why many managers fail at it.
Mm. It's interesting what you're saying for the, seeing the leader for who they are. And I I understand that by authenticity, right? This authenticity. And it comes to me this concept of work/life balance, work-life balance. It's for me, I hate this terminology because it means that there's work, okay, slash, and then there's life, right?
Yeah, and those are completely separate domains.
Totally separate. And the work, so when you're in work, well, you need to act a certain way. You need to be professional. You need to, use certain words. You need to be, like to have this kind of facade. And then, life
you can go home and be yourself.
And be yourself. And to me, it's just this concept. But this is what is always used as a concept to say, okay, work-life balance, slash in the middle, And that to me, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you might like this. There's a researcher at MIT called Tripalium. And she's also very critical of the term, and she tries to talk about work-life integration instead.
Right.
So you see it as you have a life, and you spend some of it at work and some of it at home. You guys know what they do at Zappos? Well, they have this awesome culture.
Easy question. Do I get like a cheese or something to put in my wheel?
So I've been there several times. They're a really awesome workplace. If you're ever in Vegas, you can actually get a free tour of the Zappos office. Cool. You just sign up on their website. They will actually come pick you up at your hotel, drive you to the headquarters, give you a free 1.5 hour tour because they're that proud of their workplace. One of the really cool things they do is they want people who can be themselves. They can want people who can be a little bit different. And actually, part of the work, the Zappos culture is called create fun and a little weirdness. So a typical interview question in a job interview at Zappos would be, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how weird are you? And if you're a 1 or a 2, they probably won't hire you because you probably won't fit in. They usually say if you're a 9 or a 10, you're probably a little too psychotic. So they usually the 7s or 8s.
Team is 15.
Yeah, and of course it's not just the number.
I'm turning it up to 11.
Yeah. Exactly. This style goes, and of course it's not just the number. So why do you say 7 or why do you say 4 or whatever? But they want people who can be themselves, and they let people be themselves. And I've walked around the headquarters there, and people have tattoos and piercings and weird clothes and weird hair. And it's awesome. And people get to be real and they get to be themselves and they deliver fantastic customer service. And that's why their sales, if you ask them, that's why their sales are so high. They've done very little actual advertising.
You're a communist subversive, aren't you?
You're
trying to undermine the capitalist system over here that's run perfectly well with trickle down, with everybody getting a lovely amount of money themselves, perfect for so long, and you're trying to undermine it, you commie bastard.
In my opinion, the capitalist system is doing a fantastic job of undermining itself right now.
That's a good point.
Ask the Greek.
That's a good point. Yeah. Power to the people. That's what I say.
Yes. Happiness to the people.
But yeah, happiness. How did I miss that opportunity then? Yes, of course. It should have been happiness. So let me ask you this. Favourite book on happiness?
Oh my God.
Because you must have read a lot, I would imagine.
Only a few hundred.
Right.
I mean, there's
Is it How to Be Rich and Happy by any chance? Sorry.
How to Be Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People? No, How
to Be Rich and Happy.
I can tell you the worst book I ever read.
Oh, fuck. No, it's actually...
I read a horrible book by a guy called Tom Mockert, and it was called You Can't Win a Fight with Your Boss. And it was all about these rules of the workplace and how you should never argue with the boss because he'll always win and then he'll fire you and that kind of thing. So that was the worst book I've read.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, some of the best books I've read. I mean, the Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh about Zappos is a fantastic book. One of my favorites is by the leading researcher in this area is a psychologist called Ed Diener and his son Robert Diener. Who are both psychologists, and they wrote a book called Happiness, which is just a great overview of the research in this area, which is called, of course, Positive Psychology. That is a fantastic book. I love stories of happy workplaces. There's one about Patagonia called Let My People Surf, which is fantastic by their founder, Yvonne Schoen. Yeah, you guys know Patagonia, right?
Yeah, the mountain wear stuff and the climbing gear.
Yes, exactly. And their headquarters are very close to the beach in Southern California. And they have a rule called "Let My People Surf," and the rule is that if the waves are good on the beach, you can drop whatever you're doing and go surfing. They have surfboards lined up in the hallways.
Fantastic.
And
they've been very careful not to open an office in Hawaii, though.
And that kind of thing, why not? This is my question. Why is everybody running workplaces in the same way? Why is everybody dressed the same way? We do meetings the same way.
Hang on, I need to stop you because you know the answer to this. So you tell us what your answer is.
Because everybody else is doing it, and people are afraid to be different.
Right.
And that's why I love reading books like this one, "Let My People Surf," or the one about Zappos, Delivering Happiness, because they show that there is a different way, and this way is not only happier, it's actually also more profitable. So this is basically the realization we're trying to bring to the business world is we're not asking you to choose between running a happy workplace and running a profitable workplace. We're actually saying that if you can create that happy culture, you will make more money.
So how is it right now? Because you're a consultant, you go there to this big company. So is there like a grasp? Do you sense like something which is shifting, or is it like something? Okay, we will invite you. You'll do this nice speech, and then goodbye, and we'll go back. Is it? How is it right now? Is it? Do you sense something happening?
Yeah, I sense a massive shift. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years now. And 12 years ago, I distinctly remember announcing to my friends that I'm going to be a consultant in happiness at work, and they were like, "That's weird." And now there are a lot of people in this field now, and which I think is fantastic. So there is definitely an increased awareness about how important this is, and I see this on a personal level where more and more people are saying, "Well, I don't want to work a job I hate. I'm going to go find a job I actually love." And I see this also on a business level. And in my opinion, I think this shift is inevitable. I mean, if you look 30, 40, 50 years into the future, I think it's inevitable that most businesses will be happy for one simple reason, which is that the happy workplaces are going to come into an industry and they're going to completely outcompete all the miserable bastards. And they're going to win in the marketplace.
Hang on, if every business is happy, then it levels the playing field. It's a little bit like somebody taking steroids and then somebody else taking steroids and so on and so forth. So ultimately, I don't want to play Debbie Downer here because I love the message you're giving and I'm fully on board with it. But ultimately, everybody's a happy workplace, so suddenly that advantage of being happy is lost.
That's true. But which is fantastic because then most people will be happy at work. And that way you cannot run a really miserable company because all the happy competitors in your industry will beat the pants off you, which I think is fantastic.
Well, do you think? But are there businesses out there, Alex, that you've done? And I'm not asking you to name names at all, of course. But are there businesses out there that where their employees are miserable, but they're making a massive, great profit and kicking the ass of their competition?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not a one-to-one rule that a company has to be happy to make money, or that every happy company is profitable. But if you can look at it, and you can look at, let's say, a miserable organization like, let's name some names.
Oh yes.
Pretty much any bank, but I'll mention SunTrust if I may. But
yes,
pretty much any bank, I think.
Can I just say Ryanair?
Oh, I've never been on Ryanair, but I can. But, yeah.
If you
sounds like it's coming. That's either really good or really bad. I've no idea.
They're miserable. And there's a reality show on television about where they follow Ryanair, and it's a miserable experience for everybody involved. And everybody points to Ryanair and says, well, they're incredibly profitable. And I say that's very true. Mm-hmm. But imagine how profitable they could be, how much more profitable they could be if people actually love their jobs. If people actually flew Ryanair, not because they were the cheapest airline, which they very often are, but because they were awesome. And that's what you have. That's what you have with Southwest Airlines in the U.S., where Southwest Airlines are they're cheap, but they're not the cheapest. But people fly them anyway because they are awesome. I've been on a Southwest Airlines flight, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, because the captains are allowed to like sort of freelance with what they say, aren't they? In terms of, you know, you may get there, you may not. I don't think they probably actually say that. Although I was just hearing a story this morning about Southwesters, like, are you compromising your safety for cheap travel? But we won't go there. We'll not go there. So tell us.
Well, I will. In that, just as an additional screw you here. The airline in the US that has the best safety record.
Southwest Airline, by any chance?
Yeah.
I only caught the headline. You know? Listen, dude, packing the fucking dogs into the car. Yeah. Just been for a walk. I was rushing to get back to meet you because you hadn't turned up last time. I thought you might turn up this time.
Look at him. He's very defensive right now.
I was thinking, fuck, I could do with a beer, but I'm not allowed to have one because it's like only 10:30. Anyway,
okay, have you finished him? Are you finished him? Okay,
I have finished, but there was actually a really relevant point to that, but I'm not even going to tell you now.
Anyway, I have another question actually, because there is this other culture that you have in the companies, in my companies, for instance, they will tell you, work hard, play hard. You know, this is one of the sentences, meaning that you need to give as much as possible during during work, and which is like 12 hours, and then let's go out and try to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
But for me, what I get from this is you just get exhausted from this, you know, from this kind of mentality. You know, what is your take on that?
I'm not crazy about it. I kind of like the work hard part, provided that you work on something meaningful, and that's what you got to remember. That working hard in the service of a goal that you believe in is awesome. Feels really, really good. But working hard on something that you don't know why you do it, or you don't know if this is really helping anybody, you get no feedback, that fucking sucks, and that's where people get stressed, okay? As for the play hard part, a lot of times when people say work hard, play hard, they mean, and then go out drinking.
Taking drugs. Trust me, I worked in the advertising industry. It's work your fucking balls off, then go take loads of drugs and drink all night so that you can get through the following day.
Yeah, and is that really a good lifestyle?
It's great for about 3 days.
Yes, exactly. And then after 3 years, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I mean, look at me. I'm only 36.
You have so beautiful wavy hair, right?
I know, it's such a full, lustrous head of hair, and no bags under my eyes or anything like that. From
you look great, man. You're gorgeous.
But do you know what? Until I went to a certain business, I'd never, you talked about work-life balance before. I'd never heard of that phrase until I was in my 30s, because I'd always worked for small businesses where I didn't even know what it meant when first somebody said it to me. I went to this big business. Yeah. And that was the same business where I heard work hard, party hard. In other words, you all go away, sell advertising for a group, you go out and you get absolutely hammered, or you take loads of coke to get through the day or whatever. And then, and it's just like, it's ludicrous. I mean, at the time it seems like it's fun and it's exciting. I was like late 20s, early 30s, whatever, probably early 30s. But now you look back now, you just think, what a recipe for disaster. No wonder so many people just burn out, and, I don't really know what to say. It's unusual for me.
You can look at the Japanese, right? And the Japanese working culture is exactly like that. You work 10, 11, 12 hours, and then you go out drinking. Then you jump on the Shinkansen train, and you have an hour and a half home, and then you sleep for 4 hours, and you go out and do it again. By the way, you probably also work Saturdays. Yeah. And that's why in Japanese there's a Japanese word called karoshi, which means death from overwork, right? Yeah. In fact, Japanese workers actually have it pretty good. For instance, by law in Japan, you usually have 3 weeks of vacation a year. The problem is a lot of people don't take those vacations. 20% of Japanese workers in the last year have taken no vacation, no paid vacation.
Do you know the stats for the US on that?
Yes,
Alex?
In the US, it is about half of the vacation time that goes unused.
Okay.
Which is pretty fucking scary, because Americans get no vacation to begin with. It's like 1 or 2 weeks for many people.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can tell you, in Denmark,
14 weeks. But hang on, before you say that, can I just say, when we moved from England, I want to tell you what my wife was on, because I tell people, listen, they're like, because she worked for the NHS, National Health Service, she's an oncology specialist nurse, and she got 8.5 paid weeks vacation.
Nice.
Now, all of us now, we've got a Frenchman, a Danishman, a Dane and an Englishman, and we're all, this is like normal. So 8.5 weeks paid vacation plus statutory bank holidays, which means Christmas Day, Boxing Day for us, New Year's Day, Easter, whatever there are. There's 10 statutory bank holidays in the UK, so that's really 10.5 weeks. I look at people, I tell people like in this country, and they're like, but here's the deal. Look at the productivity of the country, especially Northern Europe. When you get into Scandinavia, if you look at the productivity of those countries and how much vacation time they give, and then you look at the productivity of the US, which is often lower, and how much vacation. It's like, join the fucking dots. People need to recharge, need to get away and fucking recharge the batteries.
Exactly. And that's a very fundamental thing that many people are not getting, is that they think that, if you just increase the number of hours you work, you will get more work done.
Yeah.
And the research shows that this is actually very wrong. And especially for knowledge workers, it turns out that you need breaks. You need to recharge. You need weekends. You need evenings at home where you're not working. And one study actually indicated that the optimal number of working hours per week for a knowledge worker may be 35. And anything beyond that actually reduces your productivity to the point where it's no longer worth it. I just talked to, there are 2 Toyota mechanic shops in Sweden, in Göteborg, where they've been working, the workers have been working 30 hours a week for 8 years now. And they get paid for 40 hours, they work 30, and they get more work done in those 30 than other mechanics do in 40.
That's great.
So there's a very fundamental. I'm just going to go turn on the lights, guys.
No
Hang
worries.
on.
Oh, I bet he's fucked off to make some
Chili.
make some fucking chili for his mates, hasn't he, like he did last time?
It's getting dark in Copenhagen.
Yeah. No, we
So,
were convinced
the lights are on.
Chili.
Some chili or recipes or something.
Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. I'm sorry I blew you off the last time.
No, don't worry.
Really embarrassed.
No, don't ever say.
Anyway,
don't ever
so
apologise for blowing me off.
Sorry.
No. It was a joke. Sorry, not a very good one. I said, don't ever apologise for blowing me off. Anyway, enough of that.
Okay, that's how you want to play it.
Should we just say stop now and then start again? And then
No,
we can
absolutely not.
No,
This is
you're
not how
not
it works.
fucking cutting it out, are you bastard?
Anyway, Alex, you were saying about the Japanese in Toyota, something very interesting.
Yes, but never mind.
I can't believe I'm getting paid for this, but I'm not getting paid for this. How do we get paid for this? So there's the thing, so we love it, And I tip up on a Friday morning whenever Olivier tells me, because I usually have forgotten and I've dismissed, I delete his emails, and we have great fun. And here's the thing. So this is a serious comment, actually. So I try to be as real as possible with people when I'm writing, with the clients or whatever, in terms of, I don't believe in the just follow your bliss, the whole Joseph Campbell, because I think, if my bliss is wrestling ostriches in chocolate, it's very unlikely that's going to be sustainable long-term. That is my bliss, by the way, but don't tell me.
That's good bliss.
It is good bliss. Oh, it's good bliss. I mean, not only do you get the chocolate, but then you can just tear one of its legs off, and it's been sort of marinated in chocolate. It's beautiful. Just a little bit of lime juice, just keep the process moving forward.
Moving.
Yes, sorry, moving forward. Yes. So I think that people should do things that they love, but I also think there's an element of learning to love what you do. I don't want to get into the should you love the one you're with, or the opposite wing. That's that song from the 60s. Whatever. Older people will get that, and anybody else will think I'm mental. So
moving on.
Yeah, moving. God, I can't believe it. Olivier's making these noises to keep me moving, and so. What do you think about that? Do you think that there's a point where it comes to say, okay, well, that's not really sustainable?
I think you're onto something very, very important, which is that there's got to be a match here between what you like to do, but also what somebody what creates value essentially. And maybe you really enjoy performing street theater, but nobody will pay you to do street theater, and so therefore you're not really creating any societal value, right? But that being said, it's just amazing how many jobs are actually out there, how many different types of work exist, and it would be really fucking weird if there wasn't a single one that actually fit your professional skills and your personality and who you are. So if you're stuck in a job you don't like, that does not, where you cannot use your potential, where you cannot learn new things and grow as a person and a professional, then I'm pretty sure there's another job out there where you could. And for me, it's very much about finding purpose and meaning, seeing the purpose in what you do. And there is purpose in most jobs. I mean, if you're a bus driver, that is massively important.
Tell the story. Tell the story. It's brilliant. Tell the story. Come on.
Bus drivers in Copenhagen are not necessarily very happy normally, but I did meet one guy who was, and you get on the city bus, and he's what, 55, and I've never seen him before. And as I get on the bus, he looks at me and he goes, "Hey there, buddy. Welcome on board. I saved you a seat right here." And there's actually a part 2 to that story that I didn't get to share in the TEDx video. Do you guys want to hear it?
No, please, yeah, definitely, of course, yes.
Here's a cool thing. I have these little cards that I carry with me that say, "Thank you for being happy at work." Okay, we printed them up like little business cards. I have them on me. We hand them out in our keynotes and workshops, give them to people. And the idea is that if you run into somebody who obviously loves their job, you can give them this card. So before I get off the bus, I go up to the bus driver and say, "Oh my God, you are awesome. Look how happy people are on this bus. I'd like to give you this card." And I did. Then a couple of years later, I was doing a workshop for an organization in Copenhagen. And in the beginning of the day, I share the story about the bus driver. In the next break, a woman comes up about 25, and she goes, "That bus driver, I think that was my dad."
Wow.
So she pulls out her phone, shows me a picture. That was him. It was him. I recognized him. And then she told me that he came home with that card, and he'd shown it to his whole family, going, "Look what I got." And he hung it in his room, framed. Okay.
Wow.
So
awesome.
yeah.
Nice.
So yeah. And so you meet, I've met happy bus drivers, I met happy mortuary workers, I've met happy nurses and doctors and school teachers. I met a happy sewage worker, okay? A guy who's every single day he's in it, up to his knees in shit down in the sewers of Copenhagen, and he fucking loved his job because, the way he put it was because what we do is really important, and I would have to agree.
Yes.
Actually, it's one of the questions that I have in my head is, okay, I understand the concept of the sewage guy, like he's doing something which is meaningful, of a value for the society, and he's helping a lot.
Yeah.
What about, let's say, a company who is building landmines, like something like that, because obviously there's personal values, you have your own values of things like that. So, can it work, this concept of happiness at work here? How do you see this happening here?
That's an incredibly good question. I see a lot of people work in those kind of workplaces. They rationalize it. Okay, so for instance, tobacco companies. You can go onto any tobacco company, go onto their website, and they'll have a long passage about how they promote quality of life and choice. Of course, they're making a product that's actually killing people, but that's how they rationalize it. If you're making landmines, then you can rationalize that and say, well, it's about creating safety and protecting our truth or whatever. And maybe if you can do that, then maybe you can, you can still believe that you're doing something that's worthwhile. But there are obviously jobs where this is a lot easier. Okay. Yesterday I did a speech for a hospital in Denmark, and this is for the department where they reconstruct people's faces after serious traffic accidents or hunting accidents. People's faces have been completely ruined, and they can actually reconstruct your face and make you look like you did before the accident. They're some of the leading experts in the world on this, and to hear some of their dentists and surgeons talk about that moment where we can take the bandages off after we've been working on this patient for a year, and they can see their face and it looks normal again. I was like, I'm getting chills just talking about it now. That is meaningful, and here's a vision I have. What if all of those people all of those employees who have jobs that are not contributing anything positive or valuable or meaningful to the world. All of the people who make landmines, and all of the people who make tobacco, and all of the people in investment banking and that kind of thing. What if all of those people quit their jobs tomorrow and went and did something that actually had a positive influence in the world?
You're a fucking utopist. Communist.
No, I am. I totally am. And of course it'll never happen, but what if?
Have you ever heard of it wasn't a book. The book was called something different. I can't remember. But the DVD, the CD series was called Maverick Mindset by John Elliott.
No.
You would fucking love it. One of the early stories on, I mean, it's really about confidence, but one of the early stories on, it's something that stuck with me for a long time. He said, and John Elliott was the professor of psychology at Rice University in San Francisco. And so we used to drive every morning over the Golden Gate Bridge. And I guess it was a Golden Gate Bridge. He said a toll bridge. Now, I've been over the Golden Gate, and I can't remember if that's a toll bridge. But it doesn't matter. Over a bridge into San Francisco, it's a toll bridge. And there was always one line that was longer than the others. And he'd get in one of the short lines he'd go through, and he'd look at this guy, and there was like I think he said he was like a Jamaican guy or whatever, and he'd got a big beatbox out there, and he was dancing, and he was collecting the tolls off people and dancing, carrying on, waving them on and doing all this. And he said, so one morning he said, I decided I got to go and see what the story was. I wanted to know. And he was all about doing things differently. So he got there, and he said to the guy said to him, like, 50 cents or whatever. He says, what are you doing here? He says, what do you mean? He says, what are you doing? He says, I'm dancing for the people, man. And he said, what do you mean you're dancing for the people? He says, people pay me to dance. And he said, no, they pay you to cross the toll. He said, man, look behind you at the line, the people pay me to dance. And it was just like, he knew it wasn't really true, but he just decided he was Elvis. This was his box office. This was his, and it's just such...
awesome.
It is. And it kind of reminds me of the story you said, the bus driver's like, I've saved a seat for you. Like, there's 52 of them, but you've got one of them over there,
Yeah.
And it's just looking at... And it's the same thing. That's what I said before about looking at your job. The girl in Publix, the supermarket, she was just as integral to that business as a CEO, in some respects more. If you've ever read Thinking Fast and Slow, you know how fucking clueless CEOs are and how much they're guessing most of the time, So, So it's kind of like, you have the opportunity. We all have an opportunity when we're at work. And you do this, Alex, more because you speak to groups of people. Me, with my clients, Olivier, in a work environment, and through, we have the ability to put a smile on people's face, and that is so fucking rare. We all have that ability, and it's so underestimated as well. As like, how great is it when somebody smiles at you? Yeah, you may feel a little bit uncomfortable if you're not sure why. When Olivier, FaceTimes me when I'm in the bath, and he's smiling at me, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. That's a different matter. We'll forget that.
Shut up now. Shut up about that's our secret.
Let's not talk about
that's our secret between us.
Okay.
Alex, you want to say something?
It's just
here's what's really cool. One of the most replicated findings from positive psychology, one thing they find again and again in all these studies, is that if you want to be happy yourself, what really works best is to make someone else happy.
Exactly.
Rather than focus on you, you actually derive more happiness from pleasing others, from making other people happy. Yeah. And they found that in so many different studies, which, first of all, is fascinating. And secondly, I think says something incredibly positive about us as a race. It just points to the fact that we are not isolated individuals. We're social creatures. Empathy and altruism is in our nature. It's who we are. If you want to try something really funny, if you're ever around a toddler, around 2.5, 3 years old, pretend to drop something in front of the toddler, and then pretend that you're trying to get it, but you can't reach it. And they will pick it up and give it to you. That's just who we are. That is our nature. Generosity, altruism, empathy. We want others to be happy because that's how we become happy. And what's kind of sad, though, is that in many workplaces, this gets beaten out of us.
Yeah.
okay, and you're told that your coworkers are actually your competition. You are competing for promotions. You're competing for raises and bonuses. And I think I don't think any workplace does this consciously, but unconsciously it becomes a tool for control. Absolutely. Because it keeps people isolated and alone.
I think they do it consciously. I really do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the cynic in me. I don't think it's the norm, but I think there are businesses that do that. And
I'm not sure, Tim, to be honest. But this is something that we can debate. I'm sure some of them will do, but some of them is what I think. What Alex is mentioning is they don't know anything else. There's no other model. There's nothing else as well that just says.
Okay, so sorry, but so does that mean there is nobody? So is three of us having a conversation that know there's a different model? So are you telling me there aren't CEOs of big businesses that know there's a different model and know that they can't sort of like it's the whole what's the expression sort of conquer and rule? It's
divide and conquer.
Yeah, divide and conquer. Thank you very much. Divide and conquer. So is that whole thing? Beg your pardon. Thank you for making me look stupid. No, I did that myself actually. Yes. It's all divide and conquer. It's just like So if we know this, it's not like we're on the cutting edge of some new research. Do you think there's businesses? Maybe not big businesses. I don't know because then you've got power gets divested through different levels and so on. It gets diluted and all sorts of things happen. But I'm sure that goes on. Have you ever read The Black Prince?
No,
Alex. No. Which that's where Machiavelli came
Prince.
from.
So
Prince. Right,
The Prince, not the Black Prince. The Prince.
I beg your pardon. It is the Prince. I beg your pardon. Sorry, Prince. So but it's like that was written 600 years ago or whatever. There were people. I've worked with two managers that read that book deliberately to get ideas on how to do management.
Whoa!
But go on,
Alex.
I actually think that in most bad workplaces there is no conscious decision to make it a bad workplace.
No, I agree. I agree.
There's a system that's created, and you can go to this. You can look at the Stanford prison experiment as an example of how quickly things can go badly when you have a rotten system, which you have in a lot of places. And then of course, what often happens is, let's say you have 10 middle managers and 2 of them are genuinely nice, caring, empathetic managers who are, who care deeply about their employees, and 8 of them are complete assholes. There's a good chance that one of the assholes will actually be the one who gets the promotion to upper management. Because that's what upper management knows. And you tend to hire and promote in your own image. That guy's just like me. I'm sure he's awesome.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I had some sign from Tim actually because he has actually a client, and I'm
right.
Can we get you back?
Yeah, you should
Anytime.
come back, man.
I have so enjoyed this. I've so enjoyed talking
awesome.
to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's awesome, and really, I'm so happy because of your energy as well. The energy that you're having and your belief and this positivity. One of the things that I hate about the Prince of Machiavelli, the foundation of the Prince says that all men are bad, basically. That's the basis of everything, So all the men are bad, so you need to use that, And this, what you project is the entire opposite. But we are social, we need to help, and all this. And this is the image we should get.
The science is very, very clear. Okay, we are not by nature selfish or scheming or evil. We are by nature caring, empathetic, and altruistic. It's just that we have created systems in societies and at work that systematically beat that out of us. And we need to stop doing that.
Fuck, Alex, please hire me.
Actually, I think I've made a better case for myself. Yeah, actually, Alex,
you're 75.
Just for irony's sake, just because it would be so fucking funny. It'd be like, Olivier, did you get the job? No, fuck. It would be great.
I see the potential.
But I'm not if I hire, because I'm happy anyway. Mate, can I just say? Seriously, really, really enjoyed talking to you. I know I do talk a lot, and that's because I get excited because I get, and Olivier will tell you this to a certain extent. It's when the interview's not going as well, where I'm not as garrulous because everything you say, I love the talk that you gave. I think we should do it. If anybody listens to this, go and look at the talk that Alex gives at TEDx because it's excellent. And if you want to know about the Stanford prison experiment, maybe Olivier should put a link to my blog post where I talked about that. But anyway, I'm not talking for. I'm looking for self-aggrandizement now. That's not who I am.
Shut up.
So Alex, from me, thank you.
My pleasure. It's been so much fun.
And we'll do this again for sure.
You got it. Anytime.
Thank you.
All right, mate. Thank you very much. Take it easy.
I'm